I welcome you to this webinar, whose the topic of which is very, right in today's context, on how SaaS is going to, make life easier, and how all future enterprises need to be more aligned to SaaS-driven offerings. So I'm Ankush from Tech Jockey, as I said, and I'll be your host and, moderator for the webinar today. It gives me pleasure to introduce to you Deepak Singla, Country Head Digital Services and Operations Management from BMC Software. And with close to 20 years of experience across organizations such as TCS, CA Technologies, and running in his own entrepreneurial venture, I think he's got the right experience and knowledge, to share with us over the next 1 hour or so, what the perspective will bring across. He leads his business across India and the SAARC nations. I have over 25 years experience, across organizations like Hutchison Max, Wipro, and HCL. With my white hair, I can say this much that, I have seen IT evolve over the last, 2 decades and a half. And, and how it has changed, how the landscape has changed over a period of time. Not to mention the changes we are seeing in the past 2 quarters, they've been dramatic. I think in my lifetime or everybody else on this call, we wouldn't have expected the times we've seen, and how things have changed, how we live, how we, communicate, how we interact with people. The entire thing has changed. The entire model has changed in the past 2 quarters. So that raises demands on, our homes, the way we work and the IT organizations, which according to me is among the frontliners, who've kept countries running, who've kept, people in touch. And, along with the healthcare and, sanitation workers have been on the front line of this war that we are, facing in our day-to-day lives today. Which means, there has been a need to adapt to a new way of working, not to mention certain organizations had taken steps and were prepared, but most of them, mid-tier or, the mid-enterprise, it came as a rude shock and, people had to take, drastic measures or, had to come up to speed to align themselves to this pandemic. So, as part of an organization, which is SISL and Tech Jockey, we are pretty uniquely poised to, serve our customers, with relationship with top OEMs, BMC being one of them. We have the partnerships, which can, which enable us to put across the best in breed solutions for our customers. Our service portfolio, right from, being it managed services or, remote infrastructure management, which is the need of the day. We cover the entire bouquet of offerings. And, we are seeing a lot of movement in customers or a lot of interest in customers towards, security, cyber security, how their entire cyber security investment is protected, how the landscape that they put in place, does it suffice the today's environment? How does it look going forward? Organizations which I had not thought of, maybe year and a half back, today talk to me about, vulnerability assessments or, penetration testing. So, the needs and times have changed and so have the requirements of, customers across. And as Tech Jockey and SISL, we are today, geared to, come up with services and offerings which basically help our customers, be ahead in business, be agile, and, align with the times. So I would, now come back to the area with which, for what we have gathered today, which is SaaS as an offering. So Deepak, I've, pointed out a few things, especially with the fear that we live in or the times that we live in. We have our friends gathered here to come and understand how life becomes easier, how life becomes more manageable. How does SaaS bring optimization to the story? How does SaaS bring cost efficiencies, reduction in complexities or workloads? So, and at the end of it, provide a great experience to the customer overall. So I would like to hand it over to you, Deepak, and I would, we would like to go ahead with your pace and maybe you define the rules. How do we, if there are questions to be taken in between or, do we wait for some time? So Over to you, Deepak. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you so much, Ankush, for that great introduction, and a very warm welcome to the entire audience today. We are absolutely privileged and honored to have you all with us. Uh, what I want to do is that if some of you want to turn on your cameras, it will be really, really nice. We will be able to see you as well as and when we get to interact. Because we have limited time today, which is about an hour with us. If you have questions at any point of time, please feel free to put those questions in the chat window. I will be taking regular pauses in between during the session. And then I'm requesting Ankush to just let me know
Sure.
what questions have come in, and then I'll keep on addressing. So that is
Absolutely.
now. Thank you, Ankush, for that. Now, as all of us have seen the agenda, and it is around SaaS. Why SaaS? And the genesis is not new, but is very relevant to what is happening in the world today. 6 months back, when the pandemic hit us, the first thing that happened is suddenly one day we realized that all of us have to work from home. There were organizations who did not have a culture of laptops given to every employee. There were organizations who had mandated that whatever work has to happen from the office premises. There were IT operations that every organization was running, be it a manufacturer or a pharma or a automobile or any kind of industry that we are in, where there are admins who used to work from the NOC centers or the operation centers, I would say, and suddenly they had to work from home, and there were security concerns that came in. How will we give them access outside the physical premises? So suddenly the world faced tremendous amount of problems, which everybody coped in one form or the other. But the two things which stood out during all these challenges that came in were adoption of SaaS and adoption of better security measures. And I was reading a report yesterday from IDC, which is a report dated August 2020, where amongst all the things that have been raised amongst organizations as top priorities, the top three are SaaS, security, and IoT. So you can imagine how much emphasis everybody is putting. So we thought, why don't we take this opportunity today to just discuss and debate what exactly we get from SaaS. We all know what SaaS is. SaaS is not new. Back in 1990s, when we started getting access to an email system over internet, that was actually SaaS. There was an email service available as there was an email solution available as a service. We were not accessing something which was hosted in your organization's data center. So SaaS is not new. And the one reason why email service grew in leaps and bounds over those years and even today is because of the ease of use that it gave us, which was available like anytime, anywhere, omni-channel, any device. So we are leveraging the same thought process today, but looking at certain other problem statements spanning across our operations and service management areas. And that is the focus that I want to bring to the world today. Now, there are some of us have been very kind enough. Ankush and team has already received a few questions with regards to what is the future of recruitment and HR in 2021. How do you leverage SaaS in specific industry verticals such as automobile? Safety and security of data is of concern. How do we ensure it if we are working from home? And how do we integrate different systems together when we are moving to SaaS? I'm very happy to say that all these questions are going to get addressed today. So as I move forward, I will keep addressing all of them, but you will get the answers. That is my commitment to you. So before I start, I also want to answer to you where I come from. And you might be wondering, what is this BMC? Never heard about it before, or some of us may have heard about it. In my 3.5 years in BMC, whenever I have gone to any organization and asked, do you know BMC? They say, oh yeah, this is that Remedy company, because BMC had a solution called Remedy, which got adopted worldwide. So in a nutshell, BMC is a US-based multinational organization, headquartered in US, but spread, having operations in 60 countries with 10,000 plus customers, more than $2 billion in revenue. And we came to India about 19 years back with the establishment of our R&D center in Pune. And I can tell you more than 1/3 of BMC's workforce is in Pune. So out of 6,000 employees, more than 2,000 are in India alone. So that is the kind of emphasis India carries with regards to BMC, and we are a leader in the space of IT operations and IT service management areas, and that is the business that I lead for India and SAARC at BMC. What I'm going to do today is that I'm dividing the entire session into different sections. I want to start with certain market drivers for adoption of SaaS, that why adoption of SaaS is coming at the first place. Then some particular reasons of adopting SaaS, that what are those pain areas that all of us who are on the call today will possibly resonate with, and I'll be very happy to take any questions around those. And then I'll go into a particular solution called Helix, which is a SaaS-based solution, and we will look at how it addresses those pain areas which we understood on the SaaS side. And then we will talk about some differentiators, some customers, and the industry recognitions. So this is my agenda. And as I mentioned, if you have any question at any point, please put that in the chat window, and I will keep on taking pauses to hear those questions and answer those. So let's look at the market landscape. Now, all of us are not new into the tech world. All of us are using some technology or the other within our corporates. It could be a different monitoring solution. It could be a ticketing solution. It could be a an ERP. It could be a CRM solution. That's tons and tons of solutions. One demand which is coming consistently from the market when we're talking to customers, they're looking at a platform economy. When I say platform economy, they're looking at a platform which can allow them to grow, rather than talking to 10 different players, handling 10 different contracts, managing 10 different separate issues at different times. Can there be a platform that allow them to start small but grow, allow them to start with possibly addressing one problem area or grow? So for example, today your problem could only be related to monitoring, that I want a solution, SaaS-based solution, which can help me monitor my business service that I'm delivering to my customers. So for example, let's say you are an automobile organization. One of the areas that you address is the demand that comes in from different retail outlets that you have, where you are selling your vehicles. Now, for them, you have made available a system wherein they can put in their requirements. Now, you want to ensure that the system is always available to your dealers. You want to ensure that whenever dealers come onto that system, the system is available, it is performing, it is not facing any issue. How do you ensure that? You ensure it by putting in a monitoring solution. But what if you have 10 monitoring solutions in place? One for server monitoring, one for network monitoring, one for application monitoring, one for database, one for hardware, and these don't talk to each other. That is where the problem comes in. And you have 10 different contracts managing each of those. So what customers are looking at is a platform economy. Can I have a single platform from where I take something and then I can keep on, elevating myself? I start with maybe server monitoring, move to application, move to database, move to network, move to hardware, and so on and so forth. So I need a platform, end-to-end platform. Then the customer expectations are consistently rising, which means our own expectations when we deploy a solution, when we take in a SaaS-based offering, we want convenience of use, because today we want anytime, anywhere availability of the solution, whether we are in office premises in the operation center, or whether we are working from our home, or whether we are traveling. So we need convenience. We want customization in the solution, and we want control on the solution, so that we control how the solution works. We control who access the solution. We control how it is to be used. So the consistent expectations are rising, which give demand to a cloud-based or SaaS-based solution. Third is the future of work. Now, a decision is taken by our Prime Minister that it's a lockdown. What happens next? Organizations, particularly, for example, the collaboration platforms, suddenly they had a surge in demand. So today we are having this call on Zoom, and all of us read about it. Suddenly, Zoom had tremendous growth in number of users, number of customers. Microsoft had growth, Google had growth, right? All this platform, Reliance came out with JioMeet. Realizing this demand, they came out with something, right? So suddenly a decision is taken, and you have to respond as an organization to that decision. So when that happens, what you require is agility. You want agility, you want capability to be able to respond to the demand without any borders. That is the future of work. Then you need intelligence anywhere, which means whatever you deliver has to be based on data, has to be based on intelligence that is coming from the usage of the technology. So you need that. And finally, you want to maximize the value that that data is generating. Now, all these particular areas, they have all led to adoption of cloud solutions. They have all drifted the market towards cloud. And that is the reason when I mentioned that IDC, when they came out with this report this month, they said the top 3 priorities where organizations are spending the most, number 1 is cloud, number 1 is SaaS. This is another couple of reports that came from IDC. One was around IT operations management, the other was on the IT service management space. And what they found is that even in spite of impact of COVID, the market for both IT operations and IT service management is growing consistently. Particularly within Asia Pacific region, they are growing. But the most important fact is it is a SaaS which is growing the fastest. If you see over here on this screen, and I'll use a pointer for convenience. So if you see this green line is referencing the growth of SaaS, and this blue line is referencing the growth of traditional on-prem solutions. And you can see how fast green is moving, and one day eventually it will bypass or overpass the growth of traditional on-prem solutions, which means the world is moving from traditional data centers which you own yourself or you have a service provider who is owning, to a pure pay public cloud kind of environment, or a SaaS kind of environment where you only pay for service, where you only focus on your core function, which could be manufacturing, which could be banking, which could be pharmaceutical, which could be e-commerce. So you want your time and energy to go there instead of managing IT services, because that is not our core job when we are delivering those different sets of businesses to our customers. So therefore, the market is also moving towards SaaS, even in the space of IT operations management and IT service management. Now, with this background of market trends, which clearly highlight, we also need to address a question that, but why SaaS in particular? Now, cloud could be anything. I mean, I can go and host my own infra on cloud also, correct? I can take hosting from AWS, Azure, or Google, and I have all my infra, my servers, my network devices, my storage systems, my hardware. There's so much of it. Except hardware, I can put everything and host it over AWS or Azure. But that is not SaaS. You're taking infrastructure as a service. I'm talking about software as a service. So what is it that SaaS delivers that even IaaS does not deliver? So let us look at it. First and foremost, there are certain pain points that all of us face. For example, if I manage my own infra, yani my servers are my own, database is my own, other peripheral components with regards to application servers, etc., are of my own. What do I need to do? I need to put manpower. I need to take support from every organization. So I will take, let's say, support from Oracle for database. I will take support from, let's say, HP for or Dell for servers. I will take support from somebody else for certain applications like WebLogic or WebSphere or all these different application components. So what is happening is I am managing it. I am purchasing that support and I am managing that support as an end customer, which leads to overheads on me, which leads to additional cost on me, because I have to manage and I have to have manpower who understands the technologies also. If you are running a database, you need a database admin also, which means you need to hire someone who is proficient in administering Oracle or MS SQL. Likewise, you need someone who understands servers, who understand different problems, different access privileges that you have to grant to different people. So you have to deploy manpower, you have to manage support, you have to administer them, and there is an infra required to run all of this, which is also yours. So there is a higher money, higher dollar spend that you have to do that. Second, which is a very, very big issue. Often you will find, and hopefully you would resonate with this problem, is that whatever tools you have deployed in your data centers, at some point you start feeling, oh, this tool does not deliver any output to me. I thought this tool will completely change my landscape, but what did this tool deliver to me? It delivered nothing. And when that team, the OEM that delivered the tool to you comes and says, sir, you are running on N-4 version, you have not upgraded it. So all my new capabilities are not there. It has not been deployed properly. All these problems come in. The version upgrade itself become a big project inside the organization. And then you have to pay to a service provider to do that. There is hefty money involved. There's a hardware refresh required. All those things are required. So there is a tendency within ourselves not to do that upgrade because it's a big project. It requires tons of approvals internally. So that's an overhead for me. And for that, I'm not able to leverage the latest capabilities offered by the OEM. So that's a problem. Then comes the service quality. Because I'm running on an outdated infra, because I'm running on outdated versions, my service quality to my customers suffer. My customers often face a problem when I have to deliver my services because I'm not able to keep the uptime of my services. I'm not able to respond to the problems that they have logged in my system. So there is always, and then my admins, my CIO, my CISO face a problem that they don't have transparency. They don't understand what is happening inside the system. Tons of emails are flowing, tons of calls are happening, tons of escalations are happening. It becomes a challenge. And finally, there are lots and lots of manual processes which are slow and labor intensive, which leads to lack of agility. Something happened, we are not able to respond. We're trying to find ways. When COVID happened, suddenly there was surge in orders for laptops across the globe. And you would remember in March or April, on any of these portals, if you would have called, they were not available. The demand had far surpassed the supply. Whatever supply was available in India was gone. So nothing was getting delivered. So that's a problem. So agility became a huge issue. So these are certain pain areas that organizations deal with that are pushing everybody towards SaaS, because SaaS eliminates all of it. There, the SaaS provider takes care of all of it. And this is what you see over here. That on the left-hand side over here, whether you are running this entire stuff, application, data, middleware, operating system, virtualization, networking, in your data center or on cloud also, you have to manage it, you have to own it, you have to separately pay for it, you have to separately manage each contract, manpower, upgrades, etc. Versus SaaS on the right hand side, where the SaaS service provider manages everything. Have you ever bothered about the storage space of your email? Like for example, Gmail. Have you ever bothered about the performance and upkeep of Gmail? Nothing, right? Have you ever bothered about upgrade of Gmail to a new interface? It all just happens. We go there, we access the mail service, and suddenly one day we get a pop-up from Google saying that, oh, there is a new interface available. Would you want to switch to it? So they are giving a better user experience to us because it's SaaS. It's an email solution coming as a service from Google or others. So that is where the difference comes in. That is what SaaS delivers, that it takes away every headache that you see on the left hand side. So if I have to summarize it in certain buckets, why migrate to SaaS? Because one, it gives us scalability. We can start small and we can grow because it is a SaaS vendor who is taking care of elasticity, who is ensuring that you have your demand is low today, but suddenly there is an upsurge in your demand. That SaaS provider is going to give you resources in no time. Second, there is a reduced cost. Now, this is a very, very important angle because we cannot compare the cost of only software licenses, let's say for a monitoring solution, versus a SaaS offering for the same monitoring solution. What we have to actually consider is the TCO. What we have to actually look at is what is my total cost when I was on-prem, which is not just the software licenses, but also the hardware, the labor that I have to put in, the costly upgrades that I have to pay for, the support contracts that I'm running, and my own bandwidth that is getting into it. In totality, SaaS will massively bring your cost down. Third, faster time to innovate, because now you are spending much less time on the rudimentary tasks for which you are not competent enough, somebody else is. Therefore, you have more time to focus on your core job. And therefore, you have more time to innovate. You are more agile. Fourth, security and compliance. Again, if you are running your own data center, it is you who manage the security. You have to deploy different security solutions. You have to ensure that every piece of data that you are hosting is well authorized, well authenticated, is kept secured, has to be patched. Vulnerabilities need to be identified from time to time. But on SaaS side, you are relieved from all of it. SaaS provider gives you assurances, SLAs, and everything to ensure that security and compliance is taken care of. And finally, access and flexibility, like it happened in the COVID time. Imagine you were on SaaS before COVID happened. There was no problem at all. Irrespective of where you were, wherever you were working, we could have easily accessed the SaaS service, like we have been accessing our Gmail or any other SaaS service that we are accessing. So the access and flexibility comes in, and these are the reasons why organizations are moving towards SaaS, why there is an incremental spend which is happening on SaaS versus the traditional on-prem perpetual systems that the world has seen for a long, long time. I'll take a pause at this point and I'll ask Ankush. Ankush, if you have received any questions which I can answer.
Yeah, I have received a question, Deepak, which says, what is your input on OEM software organization as to how to give SaaS service?
Okay, so I can tell you today, most of the OEM organizations are moving towards SaaS as well, and BMC is no different. Long time back when we started, uh, there were certain industry segments, for example, government, for example, BFSI, which because of data regulation, which because of data residency
Deepak,
issue,
you can't hear you.
am I not audible?
Now, you're audible now. We missed out what you said earlier.
Okay, I was saying that most OEMs today are actually moving towards SaaS. Most OEMs today are moving toward delivering SaaS-based services, and BMC is no different. When we started some time back, there were a lot of concerns around SaaS. I remember 10 or 15 years ago, whenever there was a discussion around SaaS, everybody was bothered about security. Everybody was bothered about, oh, why would I share my data with somebody else? There were tons of fears that were around SaaS, which over a period of time have got alleviated. So everybody is moving towards SaaS today. Second, there were tons of data residency and data regulatory issues in many countries that we will not allow data to be hosted outside of our country. We will not allow without certain, security certifications in place. So most of the SaaS providers today have actually taken care of that. So wherever they're hosting the data, they are taking care of all those ISO and other kind of SOC type 1, type 2 kind of security certifications, which give the confidence to the customers that my data is safe and secure, and I have all legal agreements in place that give me a surety that the data safety has been taken care of. And then the third concern was availability, that when it is in my data center, it is my prerogative. When it is in my data center, I am responsible to maintain availability. I'll be questioned. Suddenly, if somebody else is doing it, how do I ensure it? Today, organizations are giving, including BMC, giving 99.9% contracted availability, which means in the contract that you sign, it is written that 99.9% availability is given. And if that availability is not assured, then there are credits which are paid back, which means OEMs today are paying back the customer if they don't maintain the SLAs. So therefore, every OEM that you look at today is moving towards SaaS. Most have already moved. Those who are still lagging behind, you will see SaaS is there in their roadmap.
So I think that's a huge assurance that the OEMs are paying back if the availability is not met.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I have another question from Dilbag, Deepak.
Yeah.
The question goes: how do the designing OEMs, with specifics to heavy design applications,
Yes.
are giving SaaS experience to the industries?
Okay, very good question, Ankush. So, see, look at it, how the world has changed from a usage of a SaaS solution is concerned. Let's say you are into designing and you are providing those design softwares to the world today. When I 25 years back, when I was into doing computer science engineering, I remember dealing in HTML and how I used to create web pages back then. Creating an HTML itself was a part of a coding job. Today, we are talking about responsive GUIs. Today, we are talking about GUIs which are available in an exact same way, whether you're accessing from a laptop or a desktop or accessing from your mobile device. So technology has grown in leaps and bounds. If you have ever noticed some extremely good portals, for example, and I particularly like Apple. So if you go to Apple, just open the home page and you scroll through it, you'll see how they have taken care of animation. There's tremendous amount of design effort which has gone into it. What I'm trying to say is that today the technology has gone to a stage where everything is available and accessible over a web browser. So even if you are giving a design software, even that is available over a web browser to the end customers today. So all that you have to do is put it over a SaaS platform. Now, if you want to offer a design stuff over SaaS, you actually will have to build a SaaS service of your own, wherein you move yourself to IaaS like AWS, Azure, or Google, and then build a platform there, and then start offering it as software as a service to your end customers. That is one side of it. The other side of it is that you are already on cloud, for example, but what you are looking for is that if my customers are accessing my service, which is a design software, over a web browser, how do I ensure that the experience of my end user is well maintained, which means performance of my system, which means security of my system, which means if my customer is facing a problem and he wants to log a problem somewhere on a help desk, then how I am taking care of that problem, which means service management of my customer. If you are looking at it, all those services are available on SaaS today, from BMC and from through other vendors as well. So in a nutshell, you can offer your design software or your design solutions over SaaS, no problem at all. And if you want to manage IT operations and services around your software also, or your SaaS service also, that is also doable. So both ways SaaS can help you.
Yeah, there is another addition to the same question by Dilbag. For EC writes that, for example, Illustrator can be used as SaaS or AutoCAD application can be used as SaaS.
So it depends. So again, it depends on the OEM. So for example, you talked about AutoCAD, right? Now that comes from an OEM. If the OEM today decides that I am going to deliver everything over a SaaS, the service becomes available to you. So what I'm trying to say is the decision is with the provider of the service or the provider of the software. One way is that the provider of the software says that my software is available only as an on-prem offering, which means you actually have to set up AutoCAD in your data center or on your machine, versus the provider says that now it is available on SaaS offering. You don't need to download and install anything. Just come on the portal, buy the subscription and start using it straight away, which means it is available on day one. You do not need to spend time to download it, install it, configure it, and then use it. So SaaS offers that advantage for you. And then you need hardware to run AutoCAD, which will be eliminated if the same becomes available to you over SaaS. So that is the difference.
Deepak, as of now, these are the questions.
Okay. All right. So let's move ahead. Now, so far, what I have done is that I have introduced the market drivers, why the world is moving towards cloud adoption, and I have introduced why SaaS, what advantages SaaS offers versus the traditional on-prem perpetual software that all of us are so used to. Now here I am introducing a platform called Helix, which BMC launched about more than 2 years back, which actually is a SaaS offering that eliminates many of the IT operational and IT service management issues that we deal on a day-to-day basis. So let's see what Helix is. Now, when BMC started a while back, we had two sets of portfolios. One on the IT service management side, which is a simple service desk, which is a remedy that I was talking about. So what does service desk do? I am facing a problem as an employee of BMC, and I have a system which I access over a browser and I log a ticket that I am facing this problem. For example, my laptop is slow. For example, I need a new mouse. For example, I need access to the printing services. Anything. So I log a ticket. That ticket, I log a problem. Against that problem, a ticket gets generated. The ticket is, I am given the ticket number. The ticket is assigned to someone, and then that engineer works on it, and I get a resolution of the problem. That was the traditional service management side. There were various facets to it from an ITIL perspective, like service, incident management, problem, change, release, knowledge, asset. There were many facets of ITIL that got covered there. On the other side, we had IT operations management that talked about what is happening in your data center, what is happening in your operations room, which is ensuring the performance, fault, and availability of your services and infra, which is ensuring capacity management of your infra, ensuring security of your infra. All that was part of IT operations management. And all this were running successfully in a traditional on-prem perpetual model. What BMC did was we converged both of these together to form a single platform based on AI that we called Helix. And this Helix platform now delivers 5 key capabilities over SaaS in a very, very integrated fashion. So right from discovering your infra and applications, to monitoring that infra and application and business services, to servicing your employees and customers, to automatically remediating day-to-day problems which are coming in your applications and with your customers, and finally optimizing all your services to save the cost of operations. So all this together in an integrated fashion is what BMC launched 2 years back as a end-to-end ITSM and ITOM-based SaaS platform called Helix. If I have to show you a different picture, this is how Helix looks like, which means we launched a Helix platform, a platform that is available on 3 different choices of cloud, which means it is available on BMC's own cloud, it is available on AWS, as well as it is available on Azure. So if you remember when I answered the designing question, what I said is if you want to deliver a SaaS service like BMC did, you will actually have to purchase infrastructure as a service from someone. Either you set up of your own like BMC did for BMC Cloud, or you purchase infrastructure as a service from a public cloud provider such as AWS or Azure, which we also did. So we have BMC Helix platform that is available but managed by BMC across 3 different choices of cloud: AWS, BMC Cloud, and Azure. And what we did on this platform is that we delivered different components and again gave choice to our customers that you pick and choose how you want to do. So you want to do only discovery, you can do. You want to do discovery plus monitoring, you can do. So you want to do service management or remediation or optimization. So you pick and choose what you need. The platform is so robust that it can allow you to start small and grow. You can start only with discovery and grow. You can start with a big bang with all of it and then grow your business. So all that is doable, and all this is fully integrated with each other. And finally, we had something called a digital workplace, which is the end user experience. How your employees and your customers are going to interact with you is what digital workplace defines. In a beautiful shopping cart kind of experience where there are catalogs available for different problems, and you just tap a problem area, provide what the problem that you're facing, and immediately somebody will be assigned and who will be working. And this entire platform is containerized over the Kubernetes architecture supported by Docker. So which means it allows us to expand and scale with quick deployments. It is based on microservices architecture, which allows us to quickly respond to market demand if suddenly there is a new capability to be added or there is a surge in demand that we have to address. So this is what, in a nutshell, BMC Helix platform is: a platform that is available on the choice of your cloud, a platform that is containerized, a platform that gives you the choice of choosing different modules, and a platform that gives you different channels of access, which means it is available on a web browser, through a web browser, over a laptop or a desktop. It is available over a mobile app. It is available over your different choices of user interfaces such as Teams or Slack bot, etc. So a platform which is omni-channel. So these are the 4 C's on which BMC Helix relies, BMC Helix delivers. Now let me go inside each of these one by one and show you what each of these actually mean and what each of these actually deliver for you. So let's start with discovery. Now, whenever you are wanting to deliver any IT service or digital service to your customers, you grow. So you may have started with, let's say, 100 servers or 50 servers at one point of time. Okay. Over a period of time, different divisions within your organization purchased more infra, more servers, more network devices, more applications got hosted. You might have acquired another organization, which also brought with itself its own infra. So a day comes when it becomes really difficult to consolidate and know what I have. That is where discovery helps. To discover your infra and assets and applications and services which are spread across different environments, which are spread across different data centers, which are spread across different public cloud environments also. Today, every organization on an average has at least 2 different public cloud service providers, at least 2. So therefore, every organization today is multi-cloud. You have a traditional data center, but you also have cloud environment, and your infra application services spread everywhere. How do you consolidate all of them? Will you want to discover each of them separately and look at 3 different dashboards? Or can you have everything consolidated at a single place without the need of any agent installation anywhere? Just a SaaS-based discovery service which automatically scans all available environments for which you provided access to and the IP ranges that you have given. And it shows you what all do you have, and more importantly, what interdependencies they have with each other. So you get the graphs that you see on the screen, which gives you exact visibility into what you have in your traditional data center, what is in AWS, what is in Azure, how that infra is interrelated with each other, what applications are running on your server, what are their versions, everything that you can do. And all this goes into a database called CMDB, which all of you possibly already know, configuration management database. So on any given day, CMDB becomes your single source of truth. But the point is when it is available as a SaaS, because when it is available, it is usable right from day one. You onboard the service, You provide it the required access and the ranges in which you want to scan your infra. It will scan and create an entire inventory management for you, for your data center. So this is what Helix Discovery delivers over SaaS for a multi-cloud environment, a very, very powerful SaaS-based solution that helps you discover your infra, understand your interdependencies, and create a CMDB which acts as a single source of truth for what you contain and how is it located and where it is getting utilized. Now, once you have discovered everything, the next step that you have to do is now you have to monitor it. Whatever you discovered, this is part of some business service that you're delivering to your customers, right? So therefore it requires monitoring. And what do you monitor it for? You monitor it for three parameters. One is performance, that is it behaving the way it should? If I have given a timeline or a SLA of 500 millisecond, which is half a second to my customers, that whatever business service, let's say I'm a manufacturing organization, like I talked about earlier, let's say I'm a automobile manufacturer, and I have an interface given to my dealers where they come and put in their demands, then it is my responsibility to ensure that that particular service or application is behaving the way it should. If the response time has to be half a second, it has to be half a second. If it does not respond in half a second, I should proactively know. That is where you have to monitor, not just the application, but everything under that application, which is playing a role in that delivery of the service. It could be your servers, web server, application server, database server, storage, your network. Every component requires monitoring, and that is what Helix Monitor delivers. A SaaS-based platform that monitors everything that you have under that application or in your data center or in your public cloud platform, and gives you an interface for you to know that what is it that I'm monitoring, and whether it is performing the way it should, whether it is available all the time, what is my availability SLA, and whether it is facing any faults, which means the user is coming to access your business service and they are facing errors. All three problems, performance, fault, and availability, have to be taken care of through a monitoring platform. And when it comes over SaaS, the time it takes for you to set it up and start using it goes down, the time it takes to upgrade goes down, and the platform is usable to you because it is giving you all the latest capabilities all the time. So this is what the monitor delivers to you. I will cover one more slide before I open up for questions. Now the third part that you do when now you started with discovery of your infra and application and services, then you have started monitoring it. The third aspect is service management. Now your employees in your organization need different services at different times. Like I need a new laptop, I need a new mouse, I'm facing a problem in a particular application access. I need, I could have a non-IT related problem also, which I'll come to in a while. I could have any kind of problem as an employee, for which I need a system to log a problem. Similarly, my customers also need something. Suppose you have given an email ID to your customers that whenever you face a problem in my service, like BMC also has, BMC has customer support at bmc.com. I'm sure all of us on this call today will have our customers also having some email ID where they can write and log a problem. Now, do you want to give an experience to your customers where your customers say that I send an email and I don't get a response at all, versus an experience where that email, the moment it comes in, it automatically is translated into a ticket. The ticket is auto-categorized into the right category using natural language processing algorithms. The ticket is auto-classified based on its severity. The ticket is auto-assigned to the right engineer who has to work on it. A communication goes to the customer that, thank you so much for reaching out to us. We have received your problem. This is your ticket number, which we will use for all further reference purposes. And this guy who has been assigned works on it and solves it, and there is a SLA which is being measured. And that guy is working on time because he knows that there is a leadership which is measuring the SLAs. So if you have defined an SLA with your customer that within 24 hours or within 4 hours or within 2 hours, depending on severity of the problem, we will solve your problem or we will respond to you. There is someone in your organization who is monitoring that SLA. So with that SLA, the engineer also works quickly. So everybody gets visibility. Your customer gets visibility. Your service engineer gets visibility because he has a platform where he sees the problem, and your leadership gets a visibility. And your engineer, when he receives the problem in the form of a ticket, just not get the ticket information, but also gets all peripheral information about who that person is, where is he coming from? Has he or she opened tickets in the past? What is the average resolution time in the earlier? What is his happiness index? So as a service engineer, you already know so much, which empowers you to do a better job of what you have to do. So therefore, it leads to a better experience for your employees, for whatever services you're giving to them as an organization, as well as for your customers, with whenever they approach you with any problem or any request for which they need your help. That is where the Helix IT service management solution, Helix ITSM, comes into play as one of the most comprehensive solutions globally available over SaaS to completely transform your service management experience, both for your employees as well as for your end customers. Any questions, Ankush, if you have received so far, I will be happy to answer.
No, not for this section, but I think Abhijit had an add-on question, which I feel you already answered, but still if you want to take it up.
Yeah.
What a software OEM should take care of to put their product as a SaaS offering?
Okay, so I had partly answered this question, Ankush, that a software OEM who do not have a SaaS offering, if I come back here, so what they need to do is that first they need to set up a SaaS platform of their own. Like BMC set up a SaaS platform of their own, which is a BMC cloud. Okay, if they do not have a SaaS platform of their own, which means they will have to actually set up a data center, they will have to ensure all security certifications are in place, they will have to then build a orchestration and virtualization layer through which they can offer a SaaS service to their customers. They have to do it. But if they can't do it, then better is you move to a public cloud platform such as AWS or Azure as an OEM, where you take infrastructure as a service and take other associated services from the public cloud provider, like an orchestration layer, like the scalability requirements. All these things you do a contract with those public cloud providers. Now, second is whatever software you are hosting, which you have been offering as an on-prem traditional offering, you have to now make it scalable, which means you should ideally containerize it. You should make it microservices based, so that as your user volume grows, your software should not fail, which you're offering as a service now. Your software should be scalable with a higher user load. Your software should be scalable on the back end, where you need to deploy it over a larger virtualization engine or a containerized platform. So scalability aspects have to be taken care of. So as an OEM, if you want to move to SaaS and become a SaaS player, you need to create that SaaS infra either by yourself or with the help of a public cloud provider like AWS and Azure. This is how you do it.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other questions, please?
Have you received any other question?
No, not yet.
All right. Now, till this point, you heard what an IT service management platform is doing over SaaS. Now, the second part is when you are facing some day-to-day problems, okay, how do you remediate them? So today, organizations are facing tremendous amount of security concerns. If you remember when I said in the last 6 months, there are top 3 priorities of organizations are cloud adoption, security, risk exposure, and the third is your IoT. So when it comes to security, how are you going to take care of it? So BMC has a SaaS-based platform called Remediate, which does an end-to-end vulnerability management for your organization, which means there are 3 traditional players in the market for vulnerability scanning. They are called Nessus, Rapid7, and Qualys. These players, what they do is that they run a vulnerability scan. That vulnerability scan builds a huge bulky report running into thousands of pages. This report has to be now understood by your IT operations team. Now, every vulnerability will have a CVE ID, Common Vulnerability Exposure ID, and a recommendation given against it, that this asset, this server has a vulnerability. So you have to either patch it, or you have to, do a configuration change, or you have to do a software upgrade on that server. So you have to perform some operation there. What Helix Remediate does is completely automates it end to end, which means it ingests that report automatically. It correlates that report with the patch catalog that it already has. It creates a remediation plan for you. It creates a change approval mechanism for you, because you cannot patch a system before taking a change approval from the change approver in your organization. So it does everything for you. And once everything is ready and the approver says change approved, immediately the remediation action is executed, which means the patches are applied, the configuration changes are applied, the software upgrades are done, and those vulnerabilities are closed. Yesterday, I received an email in my mailbox from one of the domain name service providers in the country from whom I purchased a domain name 6 years back. And they told me that there is a new malware which has come out called Cactus Pete. And they said that this malware is proliferating very quickly right now. What we are recommending is that they gave me 6 CV IDs in that email. They said that, Deepak, we request you that if you are hosting an environment with us, please immediately apply patches on these CV IDs for the platforms that you are running. So what did it do? There's a malware which is there, and it provided a recommendation. That is exactly what we help automate, which means there are recommendations come from these vulnerability scan reports, and we do everything else beyond it, which means correlating them with patches, correlating them with configuration changes, correlating them with your upgrades, and then executing it automatically for you so that you don't have to work across different processes, different systems, different tools to ensure security of an environment. That is what we do under Helix Remediate over SaaS-based, and that too for your multi-cloud, both for your vulnerabilities existing in your data center as well as the vulnerabilities that exist in your traditional, in your public cloud environments. The next thing that we do is that we want to help you bring your cost of operations down, because today when we are all facing budget crunches, also we want to do is that we want to see where we are losing money. Are there areas in my organization where I can optimize? Do I have excess resources allocated to a particular application while there is another application which is crying out of resources and facing outages? How do I get that visibility? What is my utilization of capacity trending? So if I know how my capacity utilization is trending over the last 1 year holistically, then in the context of an application, then in the context of a business service, I will immediately know, oh, this business service or this application has more resources than it requires based on the usage of the last 1 year. There is another application or business service that is crying for resources and facing outages. What I will do, I will simply take out resources from application 1 and give it to application 2, rather than purchasing more resources for application 2. Correct? So instead of spending money, I optimize that spend. Similarly, if you are running a cloud environment, imagine you do not know what your monthly bill is going to come. But if you get a solution which shows your spending on a daily basis, which alerts you that you are going to exceed your budget by the 10th of the month, you can immediately take proactive actions. You can immediately know where that money is getting spent, which resources are consuming more resources, and what is it that I can do to bring my cost down so that I don't get shocked when at the end of the month, my Amazon or Google or the other public cloud providers, where I'm hosting my infra, they send me the bill for my monthly usage. So that is what we help ensure using Helix Optimize, which means bringing your cost of operations down very, very quickly. And then all of it that we talked about, we want to give our employees and our customers an interface with which they interact with us. Like I said before, during IT service management, that interface is called digital workplace that you see over here, wherein I can go and I have, if you see, I have different buckets over here. So I could have a bucket called Wi-Fi issue. I could have a bucket called new hardware request. I could have a bucket called laptop issues. I can create different buckets depending on what problems I face. And then for my employees or for my end customers, depending on what service I'm offering, I can create appropriate buckets, and then they have to just choose the right bucket, click on it, put a problem. What happens is they get a seamless user experience irrespective of what kind of problem they face, and that problem get auto-categorized, auto-assigned, some engineer works on it, and your end customers are able to track their problem right from this interface. So this interface is available both on the mobile as well as on your laptop or your iPad or different platforms. So the user experience stays the same, but the ease of usage becomes better. Today we are a world of millennials. A lot of our workforce is people who have grown up in the early 2000s, who have grown up in the world of internet, who have grown up in the world of mobility. So they need platforms which are easily accessible anytime, anywhere. And that is what digital workplace allows them to do. Whenever they're facing a problem, whether it's your customers or your employees, digital workplace helps you meet that need for a beautiful interface, which is very intuitive, which is well categorized, which you can design the way you like and give a seamless experience to your customers. Now, all problems in our organizations or with our customers are not related only to IT. I have been giving a lot of examples. My laptop is having an issue. I need a new mouse and all. Imagine different functions like marketing, HR, facilities, finance, procurement, and many of us on the call today are actually dealing with them. I need to apply for a visa. What I do, I write an email to my HR. I need a certain item to be procured for my department. What I do, I write a mail to either the finance team or the procurement team. I need a new desk space to be created for a new employee joining my team. So I need to write an email to facilities and so on and so forth. These are day-to-day issues, right? Now, do you want to create parallel systems for all of them? What if the same system, the same digital workplace that I showed over here helps you do it? Imagine there is a workflow over here on this screen of digital workplace accessible over your mobile, laptop, or any other device, which says new employee onboarding. All of us, all of our organizations keep on hiring somebody or the other at different times, right? Imagine you are the hiring manager and somebody is joining in your team in 1 month and you have a workflow called new employee onboarding. What you do, you click over here, fill the details of the new employee and submit. Imagine what happens at the back end. Automatically, it opens up different tickets, one for HR, one for facilities, one for finance, one for procurement, etc. What HR does, when HR guy is assigned that ticket in the system, he knows that what he has to do. He or she will create the employee ID, will create the employee welcome package and all those things that HR is supposed to do. What will facilities do? They will ensure that there is a desk space available and all other environmental details, things are available for the new employee joining it. What will finance do? They will ensure that the payroll is coming in structure. There are different payroll forms which need to be filled in by the employee on the time, on the day of his joining, his or her joining. There is PF to be created and many things. What is procurement going to do? They have to procure a new laptop or a new, certain set of accessories for the new employee. Imagine you as a hiring manager only created one ticket under a workflow called new employee onboarding. You did not have to shoot out mails and chase 4 different departments. All happened using something called Helix Business Workflows. That is the power that we give. That any organization today can transform themselves not only on the IT front, but also across every possible function which is there in your organization. And these are internal functions. This could be external as well. For example, if you have pharmaceutical, let's say you are Coca-Cola, for example. Okay. Now you have a supplier which provides you bottles. So you have a bottling organization which provides you bottles, right? Because you are only manufacturing the drink that is filled into the bottle, but bottles come from somewhere else. So you need to provide a platform to the bottling agency to which you provide your demand, how many bottles you need the next month, and the bottling agency needs to come back to you with how they are tracking on it. But if they are facing a problem, you need to provide them a platform they can log a problem. Imagine digital workplace helping you do that. Digital workplace platform given to the bottling agency. The bottling agency goes into the right bucket, enters the problem, it gets assigned to your fulfillment person, and that person now ensures that the bottling agency has what they need. So the use cases could be for any industry. You can take any example of any industry. You can get internal use cases, external use cases. All these are doable using Helix Business Workflow. So what I'm trying to do is that going beyond the traditional IT and going to non-IT lines of businesses. That is the power that we offer using Helix. Then today is the world for automation. Today is the world for cognitive. Today is the world for natural language processing. You do not want a situation where you are hiring tons and tons of help desk resources to address all these tickets and requests which are coming in from your employees and your customers. How do you solve it? Bringing in chatbots. 30 to 40% of your ticket volume can be straight away handled by a chatbot, and that too in a natural language, which means your employees and your customers, while using Microsoft Teams, while using WhatsApp, while using SMS, while using iMessage, while using Slackbot, using the same interfaces that we use to interact day to day with our family and friends and within our organizations, using the same interface to interact with a help desk engineer. And there is no engineer on the other side. It's a bot. So it's a chat bot who is interacting with the person in natural language. So whatever your customer or employee is writing, the chatbot is understanding it, is responding, and 30 to 40% ticket volume it closes right away. There could be certain problems for which only knowledge article has to be given. There are certain problems for which has already learned a solution and giving the solution. There are certain problems for which it automatically logs a ticket for you. And only for the remaining problems where the problem cannot be solved, it's a complex problem and actual service engineering is required, that it transfers the chat to a real agent so that a real person interacts, understands it in finer detail, and then log a ticket. So chatbot can completely transform. And when I say cognitive, because it uses natural language processing engines in the backend. We use IBM Watson engine in the backend. So we are able to provide an omni-channel experience to your employees and to your customers using the most commonly used platforms such as Teams, WhatsApp, Slackbot, Skype, etc., through which they can interact using multiple devices, laptop, desktops, your mobile devices, your iPads, or any other such mobility devices that customers have. So this gives a true experience. And finally, what we also do is that we provide integration with other platforms. So today you might have, some of you might have development organizations within yourself, which means you are building your own software. You want integration with DevOps cycles so that every release that you are making, there is a change approval process associated with it. So automatically, when in a technology like Jira, which is a DevOps tool, the moment something is ready for a release, Jira automatically asks the Helix ITSM platform to raise a ticket. All that is doable. Similarly, you could have a security solution in place such as SIEM to take care of your security incidents, and you want incidents to flow down to Helix ITSM. Again, all that is doable using out-of-the-box integration with multiple technologies that make this platform as a center of universe for you. So what we intend to do is that using the 5 tenets of Helix, discovering your infra and applications, monitoring infra and applications for performance fault availability, servicing your employees and your customers for both IT and non-IT lines of businesses, automatically remediating problems, particularly around vulnerabilities which are getting exploited day in and day out, and finally bringing the cost of your operations down by optimizing your spend on different applications, cloud platforms, as well as infra. We deliver a single SaaS-based platform which can completely transform your organization to a real digital native organization. That is what we deliver using SaaS, and that is what we deliver using the Helix platform. So before I move ahead, any questions, Ankush, you might have got by now?
Yeah, so I think another question from Abhijit. He says, how about handling large databases which are always growing?
Yes. So again, very good question. Today is not really the world of the traditional databases. Today we talk about big data because databases continue to grow. And with, you know, if you imagine the number of internet users, they have drastically grown. Today, our own families, our elders who actually never used a mobile device earlier, today they are Facebook savvy, they are on Twitter, they are on Instagram. So the demand for applications, demand for different services has grown, which has led to data proliferation, which has led to tremendous amount of growth in the data. That is where once again SaaS helps you. So when you build above SaaS, there is an infra as a service as well, which I'm constantly focusing on. That SaaS is what you deliver to your end customer, but you as a service provider behind the scene is also taking care of all that infra that is supporting your services on on the SaaS platform. And when you do that, you build elasticity, you build scalability using microservices, using containerization, using big data. So you use these technologies on the back end to grow. Today, most of the public cloud platforms, they offer that. For example, they offer S3 buckets on the storage side, they offer Lambda on the database side. So they provide elasticity to ensure this tremendous amount of data load that is coming in is well taken care of with for two things. One, the constant surge in demand, which is predictable, and certain surge in demand, which is unpredictable, like a COVID kind of situation, like a demonetization kind of situation, like anything which suddenly gives demand to online services, digital services. So the growth in data becomes sudden and the platform is there to cope with it because the elasticity is built through. That is how you do it. Should we move ahead, Ankush?
Another question from Dilbag.
Yeah.
If a company is using an ERP system in their data center,
Yes.
how it can be converted, migrated by SaaS service?
So
as a SaaS service, sorry.
Yeah, actually I've already answered it, Ankush,
Yeah.
earlier, that I said you will have to set up your SaaS platform. You will have to set up your cloud platform. So you need to have your own infra. If you are providing a SaaS service, okay, you are running an ERP software, you want to offer that ERP as SaaS to different customers, right? So what you have to do is that you have to set up your own platform. You have to build, containerization and virtualization layers around it. You have to build orchestrations around it. You have to build elasticity within it, and then offer it. And if you can't do all of it of your own, you move to a public cloud platform such as AWS or Azure. You take their infra as a service. You take elasticity and other capabilities from them. Then you build your service in a microservices based architecture over a containerization platform and build an orchestration layer on top of it to deliver that as a service to your end customers. So that is how you do it. And many organizations such as Salesforce, such as Oracle, they've already done that. They're offering, ERPs over SaaS using the same stuff. They are doing it over their public cloud platforms or their own cloud platforms. Yeah.
Okay.
Good to go?
Yep.
Okay. Now we looked at what Helix can offer to you across the 5 tenets of discovery, monitoring, IT service management, remediation, and optimization. Now let's look at what sets Helix apart. And I'm referring Helix, but actually I'm answering all the questions around SaaS. That what's a SaaS apart, I would say. First and foremost, if I talk about Helix, and this is true for lot of organizations, one is that availability issue, which was a big concern that many organizations had. So BMC Helix itself has an average availability of 99.98%, which is far higher than the availability that we experience in a traditional data center environment. We may not monitor it because it's our own environment, but our average availability is far lower. The contracted availability that BMC offers is 99.9. Second is 15 minutes response per time, which is the best in the class, which means if you face a problem, it's a severity one issue, within 15 minutes, a service engineer will be with you. And third, if you remember my third slide where I said a big issue with traditional on-prem platforms is running on outdated versions. When you move to SaaS or when you move to a SaaS platform like BMC Helix, you will always stay on the latest version, which means every release that comes in, and we have in BMC, and every SaaS provider can have a different release cycle. A 6-monthly release, like every 6 months a new release comes in. And with that new release, tons of new capabilities come in. So all those capabilities become available to you because it is our responsibility to move to you to the latest version. It is the SaaS provider's responsibility to move to you. And then at the bottom are different security certifications. We are FedRAMP certified, which is very high government certification. We are GDPR certified, ISO certified, SOC certified. So all these certifications ensure that the data that BMC hosts or a SaaS provider should host is well secured, safety is well taken care of, you do not have to worry. Then BMC Helix is rated highest by Gartner. In BMC Helix has been rated a leader in the Gartner quadrant for 6 years in a row. And 10 out of 12 parameters on which they do give the rating, BMC Helix is number 1 in the world. So Helix is an top rated SaaS-based platform across ITSM and ITOM, which has been recognized by Gartner and many other organizations like Forrester and Ovum. Then when I talked about security, it is very, very important because when you have your own data center, you may or may not be able to attain so much of security certifications, especially if you're a smaller organization. Not everybody can go for an ISO certification. Not everybody go for a SOC 2 Type 2. Not everybody goes for a GDPR. Not everybody takes a FedRAMP certification. So there are tremendous amount of certifications which are available and established in the world today, which will generate confidence when you deliver a service to your customer. For example, some of the questions I heard is that what do I do if I have to take my ERP platform over SaaS? Not only you will have to build a SaaS platform, you will have to actually make all the security certifications available also, which is a huge expense and overhead. For you to do it, it's a big, big thing. So there are SaaS providers which have done it, which solves a problem even for smaller organizations because you experience it. Today, anybody can move to AWS. If you are a startup, you move to AWS. If you are a big, large conglomerate, you can move to AWS. But the security certifications of AWS are the same. They are same for everyone. That is exactly true for a SaaS service. They are same for everyone, which means the confidence that you get is the same. It's like whether you fly business class in an aeroplane or you fly economy, it is the same aircraft. So the overall service, which means transportation from origin to destination via air, is the same for everyone. There could be other tenets around it which could be different, but the safety and security measures taken to ensure your safety are applicable to every single passenger of the aircraft, right? Same goes with the SaaS service, and that is what BMC also ensured with tremendous amount of PCI and ISO and different certifications over here. The other thing is the ROI. Lot of customers ask this question to us that, oh, if I go to a SaaS provider and if I go to BMC Helix in particular, what return on investment will I get? I will spend so much money on in year one. We say Forrester has done a study on us and they found out that the average ROI of Helix is 354%. That's a huge return on investment for whatever money you are spending on Helix to migrate your monitoring and service management platforms from where they are to SaaS. So you're decommissioning your existing monitoring or monitoring tools or security tools or your service management tools. You're decommissioning your additional servers and different assets you created, and now you're taking everything as a service. So you will save on an average 354% when you move to SaaS. Other thing is service locations, and which is a lot related to the governance and data centricity. BMC in particular offers lots of choices to our customers. So we have two global data centers that you see the yellow dots. One is in Amsterdam, the other is in Chicago, from where BMC Helix is available globally from BMC Cloud. And we have lot of other locations in Americas, in Singapore, in Africa, in US, in UK and EMEA, where we have hostings available from Amazon, AWS, as well as Azure, which means we give that choice to our customers. Where do you want to host and which platform you want to take, BMC Cloud or Microsoft or Amazon? That choice comes to you. Then this is a net TCO saving that you get. If you see, we are comparing with not competition, but our own software. Customers who have gone on Remedy on-prem, this is all that they pay. Hosting, software license costs, upgrades, process management, operation, reporting. And this is what they pay when they go for Helix ITSM. 33 to 41% average savings from BMC to BMC. Forget about another platform to BMC. So the right-hand side, how your cost fluctuates when you manage everything of your own in an on-prem versus how your cost fluctuates when you are over SaaS. There are tremendous amount of savings that come to you when you move to SaaS. And this is another picture of the same thing. This is all that you manage. Presentation server, infrastructure servers, integration servers, and all those applications, tremendous amount of VMs and all in a traditional architecture in on-prem. And what you get when you move to SaaS or BMC Helix is simple stuff. You are only bothered about your service you are accessing over a web browser or a device. You are not bothered about anything else running behind it. You are not bothered about upgrades, updates, hardware, maintenance, support, manpower, nothing. And this is a difference. When you have to upgrade your softwares, if you have to do it, this is all that you have to take care of. And when you move to BMC Helix, everything is taken care by BMC. More than 80% of our overheads are taken care by BMC over our SaaS platform called Helix. That frees you up. You can become more agile. You can spend more time in your core job, which is attending to your customers on your businesses. That is a huge advantage that comes to organizations. And we give different environments again, which you don't have to manage. This is the responsibility of a SaaS provider like BMC. You do not have to create a dev or a UAT or a prod or a DR environment. We create it for you. So we free you up for maintaining data centers. We free you up from maintaining disaster recovery centers. All that headache goes away because the SaaS provider is doing it for you. And they are taking daily, weekly, monthly backups of the data. So your backup is safe and secure just in case a natural calamity comes in. So that's a huge advantage that SaaS provider like BMC Helix offers to you. different environments, at least 4 environments: dev, QA, prod, and DR, and regular backups for that. And we free you up also for monitoring the performance of the SaaS services, because we give you that interface ourselves. We will give you a NOC interface like this, where you can monitor your own service that you are getting from Helix. So you do not have to spend money into monitoring tools. You do not have to set up admins to monitor the SaaS service. This is already done. You will be given access and you can manage and monitor the SaaS service yourself. And finally, the best in breed SLAs, which means within 15 minutes to 16 hours, an engineer is with you depending on the severity of the problem, which is absolutely best in the industry. There is no one who does it less than 15 minutes. So this is what we offer, available over as simple as mobile app. So you have this mobile app with you, you are facing a problem, you simply log it using the same interface that I showed you in the form of digital workplace, and get access to the service with a 99.9% contracted availability, which means if we do not meet this availability, we will pay back to you in the form of credits. So this is prima facie I wanted to cover before I just give a glimpse of some of our customers. But any question, Ankush, on SaaS, if you have come up with?
Yeah, so a couple of questions more. There's a question from Abhijit.
Yep.
So he asks, do you suggest that the application, if the application in cloud A and DB in cloud B, is that an okay design?
That is absolutely an okay design. There is no problem at all. See, the design of an application is completely dependent on what you wish to achieve. If the architecture is like this, that you want to host it on 2 different clouds, there is no problem. What does 2 applications need, whether they run in the same cloud or on 2 different clouds? It's all about connectivity, right? It's all about interfacing with each other.
Absolutely.
You can run them within the same cloud, or you can run them spread across multiple cloud environments to do that. And that is actually a very common scenario also, just to say. Because today, as I said, most organizations are multi-cloud, which means they have something running in cloud A, they acquired another organization which has its own set of applications running in cloud B, and they need to talk to each other. They need to interact. Either you build that interaction directly with the help of APIs, or you bring in orchestrators in between them that help build their interaction, or you write scripts. Whichever way you do it, everything is possible. It's completely dependent on how you manage your architecture. But the problem that you will see is that how do you maintain the performance of these applications running in different cloud environments through a single platform? That is where BMC comes in. That is where Helix Monitor comes in. That allows you to seamlessly manage and monitor your applications running into different clouds through a common interface and from a single place. That is a differentiator.
Yeah, and add on to the same question, but isn't that the security like PCI DSS is more on application than on SaaS service provider?
Okay, again, so when I say you architect your application, you have to look at what industry area you are in. Now, let's say we talk about PCI DSS, right? PCI DSS is a standard which is highly applicable on those organizations which are into payment card business, like the banks, like the Paytm of the world, etc. So you have to therefore abide by the regulatory environment that you have. Now, some of the regulatory environment does not even allow migration to SaaS. Okay. So whatever we will do, whatever architecture that we build for our application will of course be dependent on that. If the regulatory environment allows for an architecture which can be spread across multi-cloud, the answer is yes. If the regulatory environment does not allow for it, of course the answer is no.
Okay. So I Deepak, had a question of my own with regards to, you mentioned somewhere, vulnerabilities getting taken care and remediation happening on its own.
Yes.
There's a question where this was an instance today where a question, I was in a web session with a customer and he asked me that he's got a SIM solution in place.
Yeah.
He's got these firewalls which keep throwing junk alerts and his team keeps running helter skelter to basically counter those. So does that question or this situation fit into the Helix thing?
Absolutely, absolutely. So this comes to security incident management.
Right.
Now you are running a platform, let's say IBM QRadar, okay, which is a SIEM solution. Now what an SIEM solution does is, or any other security solution for that matter, it is giving an interface and it is generating alerts for you that there is some problem and this is the problem. I suddenly see an intruder coming into it, I blocked it, right? That's an alert.
Right.
Now, one way is that you manage that alert from that platform. But then how do you consolidate? how many alerts came in, how many security incidents came in, to whom those incidents were assigned, how soon the incident was resolved. This information will not come from the SIEM solution. So what you do, you integrate it with your ITSM platform. So for example, when I showcased that slide where I talked about multi-cloud service management, that is exactly what I was addressing here. So if you see, I talked about intelligent SIEM over here, that you bring in those security incidents or events which are getting generated by your security tools or platforms into the central IT service management platform. So anytime an incident comes in, that incident leads to an incident in the ITSM platform. That incident could be auto closed if that problem is solved immediately, or that incident could be auto assigned to your security advisor. But at the end of the day, when you want to pull out a report, how many security incidents came today? What was my average resolution time to close a security incident? Right? These kind of reports will come from an ITSM platform. Your CISO on a Monday morning might want to know what is the top recurring incident of the last 1 week. We faced 500 security incidents last week, but what was the top out of 500? How would you know? That will come from your ITSM knowledge base. That is the power that it gives.
And is there a feature of automating these responses to such alerts?
Absolutely. Again, good question. So automating the response is again very easy. So for example, let's say there is a security incident which has come in that is related to a vulnerability. Okay, you identified suddenly that there is a vulnerability in a particular OS version which is deployed across 100 servers. Now what you want to do to close it? You want to deploy a patch across these 100 servers to close that vulnerability. So what happens, that security incident came in from your, let's say, any of your security incident tool. Against that, a ticket opened. Okay, what that ticket did was, on that ticket we set up an orchestrator layer. So we have something called orchestration from BMC. That orchestrator reads that ticket, okay, automatically invokes a patching workflow in a technology called Helix Remediate, which I also talked about. Okay, Helix Remediate picks the ticket, okay, looks at the 100 servers where the patch has to be applied, immediately opens a change ticket now, because it cannot go and apply patches automatically. Opens a change ticket, the change ticket goes to the change approver approves it, and Helix Remediate goes and apply the patches. It applies the patches, it takes confirmation that the patches are applied, goes back, closes the change ticket, closes the main incident which has come in. Now you see everything happened automatically here. What was the manual step? The only manual step was for the change approver to approve the change. Rest everything happened automatically. So you can actually automate a lot of your tasks which are happening in your environment using these systems.
Okay, so the Remediate can be a separate siloed solution in itself.
Absolutely. Yes, very nice question, Ankush. So when I talked about Helix over here, right? The beauty of Helix is you can pick and choose. You can start from anywhere over here. You can start with only Remediate, only monitor, only discovery, only ITSM, only optimize. You can do anything. Okay. And then you can scale. You may start with Remediate and move to discovery later. So its choice is yours. Yeah.
Just plug and play. You can pick up a module and plug it anytime.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
So very quickly, we are just few more minutes. I know we have already exceeded our time. I just want to, give you confidence that this particular technology is well adopted. So this is a glimpse of many of our customers globally, including in India. You can see Flipkart, you can see Genpact, which are already leveraging this platform. Helix is already live. They're actually doing it. Genpact in particular, 100,000 employees of theirs spread across the globe. Okay, they are using Helix for their day-to-day issues across 6 different functions, from IT to HR to facilities to procurement to legal. All their processes are inside this Helix platform, right? 4,500 different processes have been automated. And the best part is that 40% of their day-to-day problems are not handled by a human, but are handled by a chatbot. Okay. So that is the kind of scalability we can achieve, and this is one of the biggest deployments we have, and many others globally. So BMC Helix is well recognized. I already shared something from Gartner, but Forrester, OVM, everybody has recognized this as a leader. It's a leading platform for SaaS, and that is what I wanted to cover. To summarize, I just want to say SaaS eliminates tons and tons of problems that we face with a traditional on-prem perpetual platform. It gives you agility. It reduces your total cost of operations. It increases your speed of response to your customers, and it brings in uniformity and a better user experience, both for your employees and your customers. You unify multiple processes, IT as well as non-IT together into common, visibly same user interfaces, so that anybody, whether somebody is working in a procurement system or somebody is working in an IT team, everybody uses the same common interface to interact and deliver a service. That is what we deliver ultimately using Helix. So thank you so much, and I'll be very happy to take more questions on Kush if they are coming.
Yep. Okay. As of now, I don't have.
And let me quickly check if I have answered the 4 questions which had come in the beginning, which is future of recruitment and HR in 2021. Very good. So this I have partly answered already, where I said you can get your entire HR onboarded into IT service management platform. That is the future. Genpact is already doing it. Their entire HR is automated. BMC is already doing it. Okay. BMC is already doing it. Today, if I need to onboard a new employee, I fill the new employee onboarding workflow. If I need to apply for visa, I go there. If I need to do an employee recognition, I do there. So tons and tons of out of the box HR workflows are there, and that is the future. That every organization will move their workflows from the traditional HR systems to this comprehensive ITSM platform such as Helix, where their HR will be managed. The second question is how to leverage SaaS in automobile section and reduce overheads. This also have answered that whether you're a manufacturing organization, your automobile, look at your employees, look at your end customers, and can you give them a common user interface? That is what it allows you to do. So your overheads go out. You do not miss out your SLAs. You do not have to chase each other over emails. All that gets sorted out. Second, the different, different platforms that you have. Now you are an automobile organization, so you have a lot of internal manufacturing processes which are running on various IT systems. You could have external systems which you have given to your suppliers as well as to your customers. All that require monitoring, all that require security, all that require capacity management. All this comes over SaaS. So this overhead that you have, the lack of visibility that you have, knowing what is being utilized where, knowing what are the security vulnerabilities in my environment, knowing how is my performance of my services to my manufacturing units, to my suppliers, to my customers, all that becomes feasible through a single platform over SaaS. So that is where your overheads come down, your costs come down, your slowdown goes away. The safety and security of data I've already addressed while working from home. So remember, before COVID was that all of us were worried that we will have to open up access of our servers in our data center to our employees and admins. But when it is over SaaS, everything is taken care of. The SaaS provider has ISO, and all other kind of SOC type 2 certifications, to which they ensure appropriate encryption, data security, authentication, and authorization. And the last is how to integrate different OS and software versions while migrating to cloud. So if you migrate to cloud, you actually decommission them. You decommission whatever you're running. But if whatever you have, so you can do a lift and shift also. So if you want to move all your infra over cloud, you just need a base platform. So today, the containerization engines provided by Docker, they support plethora of different platforms. The virtualization engines provided by the likes of VMware, Microsoft, they support different kind of OS flavors. So the problem is not so grave unless you are on a very, very legacy environment, which will actually require a transition. Most of the different varieties of OS, for example, Windows and different flavors of Linux and IBM AIX and HP UX and CentOS, all these are supported across virtualization and containerization layers. So therefore, migrating to SaaS or migrating to cloud is actually not as much of a challenge as it used to be a few years ago. So that is the answer to all these questions. Any more question, Ankush?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay. So with that, I close my presentation, and I hope all of you found it useful. If you still have, more questions, please feel free to reach out to the SISL team, and they will help consolidate, and we'll be very happy to answer. If you would like more one-on-one engagement also with BMC, please reach out to SISL, and they will help us build that engagement. We'll be very happy to engage with you and help you solve your business problems, help you solve your problems around IT operations and IT service management using our SaaS-based BMC Helix platform. So thank you so much.
And thank you, Deepak. I think a very enthusiastic session. I think when enlightening, I myself got a lot of answers around questions I had. So, any other questions from anybody, or we will wind up the session? I think Deepak, I think there are no more questions now.
So Ankush, thank you so much for organizing it. Thank you to the entire SISL team. Much appreciate. Really happy for getting the opportunity to interact with such a wider audience, and we look forward to more interactions.
Absolutely, Deepak. Thanks for time, and thanks for the energy shared with us. I thank everybody who joined the webinar. Thank you for your time.